Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues. I'm Catherine Dixon. I'm the Chief Executive of the Law Society of England and Wales. Welcome to the Law Society for the presidential inauguration of Robert Bourns, who takes office as the 172nd President of the Law Society of England and Wales. Robert comes to the Law Society from TLT Solicitors, where he was managing partner and senior partner. Robert was instrumental in developing and growing TLT, and it is now one of the most respected firms in the country. Robert is a preeminent expert on employment and regulatory law. He's also an experienced advocate, having spent the early part of his career in criminal defence. He joined the Law Society Council in 2011, and he's one of the 5 representatives from the City of London, and is a member of the Law Society's Management Board and the Equality and Diversity Committee. In his spare time, Robert is committed to the provision of pro bono advice, equality and diversity across the profession, ensuring social justice and equality of access to justice for everyone. Hailing from Bristol, he has for many years been involved in numerous projects around the city. He's been a trustee and chair of a hospice for 9 years, is a founder and director of a small arts project, as well as a trustee for a charity devoted to promoting levels of attainment and opportunity for young people in deprived areas. He's also currently the chair of a community foundation in Bristol, demonstrating his commitment to social justice. He's been involved in local law societies for many years, having been a secretary and president of Bristol Law Society and the secretary of the Association of Southern Western Law Societies. I'm delighted to be working with him, and I know that his dedication and pride in the profession during this time of unprecedented change for our country will ensure that our profession rises to the challenges and grasps the opportunities. Now, will you please join me in welcoming Robert Bourns, the new President of the Law Society of England and Wales. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you very much indeed. Oh dear, it was all going so well, wasn't it? I'm very conscious that my managing partner and my successor as senior partner of TLT are in the room, and they'll already be rewriting that script. But it is an enormous privilege, and thank you, Catherine, very much indeed for those kind words. People in my family who are here will also wonder what I've been doing with my time, and I'm not sure that you've answered all those questions entirely satisfactorily. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. And I begin by saying, as I should, it's a privilege to be the 172nd President of the Law Society of England and Wales. You'll see some of the august forebears hanging around the walls. It is an interesting time to pick up the baton. The country and our profession are facing one of the most significant periods of change in our recent history. Uncoupling from the EU in the wake of the referendum, if that is what happens, will affect every part of this country, all home nations, and others beyond. Events in the political world have been moving fast. In the last 24 hours, and I've had to rewrite this speech several times, Theresa May has become the new Prime Minister. A new cabinet is being formed, which is due to meet next week, and we have a new Lord Chancellor who is unknown to any of us, I think, before announcement this morning. We're not yet clear whether or when Article 50 will be invoked, but the incoming Prime Minister has said that Brexit is a fact and we will make it a success. I am aware a significant number of solicitors, firms and their clients rely heavily on access to the single market. Their livelihoods depend on it in whole or in part, not to mention the impact on the economy more generally. Some 200 foreign law firms have offices in the UK, a point of particular pride, and reference the significance of this jurisdiction. Almost 6,000 of our members work in foreign-owned firms or abroad. Clients, as well as some practitioners, may feel concerned about the trading environment for their businesses or corporations, about investment, about what the future will hold for our working lives, about freedom of movement, or about our rights. Other competing jurisdictions have an eye to the main chance, exploiting any perceived uncertainty or threat to independence of this profession. Some misrepresent the situation already and have started to press for changes in governing law and jurisdiction clauses in cross-border contracts. These are going to be challenging times, but as I begin my presidency, I want to stress that the fundamentals that have made English law the jurisdiction and governing law of choice remain unchanged, not affected by the vote. The Law Society will work tirelessly to promote this jurisdiction and support this profession through any period of uncertainty or transition, to make most of all opportunities, notwithstanding the challenges. So a central and, in the current circumstances, essential part of my presidency will be to promote the strength of the law of England and Wales for transactions and contracts, our jurisdiction and the jurisdiction of choice around the world for dispute resolution, the reputation, expertise and the standing of the solicitor qualification nationally and internationally. English common law continues to be the most used jurisdiction in the world. Over 2 billion people use it, 30% of the world's population. It's used in 86 of the world's legal jurisdictions, and it is the legal system of increasingly important economies such as India, Singapore, Australia and Hong Kong, all of which are now high on the governance agenda and will follow Boris wherever he goes. Although the Brexit vote causes some degree of uncertainty, this is separate from and must not be allowed to undermine the unchanged efficacy of English law, of our courts and tribunals and our profession, which substantially predated and is independent from any membership of the EU. The reputation of our jurisdiction for its fairness, its impartiality, for its evidence-based decisions of our judges, from the integrity and independence of our profession, for the flexibility of the common law to support commerce remain a constant. Just last week, our Lord Chief Justice said, and I quote, although I don't impersonate, "The business of the judiciary is not politics. It is the business of upholding the rule of law that provides the certainty so necessary for the prosperity of the state. It underpins our just society by ensuring fair dealing, respect for individuals, particularly important at this time, and peaceful resolution of disputes through access to justice and fair trial. It provides the stability and framework through which the political changes ahead can be undertaken and resolved." I agree, and will say no more of the part that I believe this profession plays and will play in providing that stability and framework. Representing the profession will clearly be a crucial role in the year ahead. Besides the Brexit vote, there are a number of important consultations on the fundamentals of regulation, education, training and admission to the profession that are being promoted or contemplated. A key part of my role will be engaging, along with Catherine and her team, with the main stakeholders of the justice system in England and Wales and internationally on the main issues from these consultations that are affecting the profession and the justice system. Last week, the interim report from the Competition and Markets Authority study was published. It indicated that no formal investigation of the market is needed, which we welcome. But the CMA went on to say that the competitive market for legal services could be improved with greater transparency of pricing and service quality. The market for legal services is competitive, and solicitors offer exceptional service and value, and we will continue to engage with the CMA on this issue. There is a danger, that old adage, establishing the price of everything but the value for nothing. Legal services are not widgets. The Solicitors Regulation Authority continues to consult on a new handbook. We are currently seeking views and will be expressing our own opinions, but views from our members, gathering insight and want to hear how these proposals will affect you. There is also the Ministry of Justice's likely consultation with the stated objective of making regulators independent of their representative bodies and the current consultation on alternative business structures. We will deal with these consultations and respond to them, notwithstanding the clear message that we can live with the status quo and do not need anything at this time that allows others to question the independence of this profession, particularly our international competitors. During my year, I will campaign for a strong, independent legal profession, including the defence of legal professional privilege and our stewardship of it. The principle of justice for all and ensuring that human rights are not eroded. Over the next 12 months, I have several key focuses. I will launch shortly our Pride in the Profession campaign, aimed at promoting the vital role of solicitors of England and Wales. Throughout my presidential year, I'll be seeking and telling your stories, promoting our members' case studies and examples of best practice. There are many of them. But in areas such as excellence and innovation in practice, use of artificial intelligence, recruitment, and people strategies that promote diversity and other activities that demonstrate our professional values. As I say, there are many of them. I want to gather them in. It's important that decision makers, the judiciary, and the public know more about our contribution, not just to the UK's bottom line, but to our justice system, to the economy and to the community. So please send in your stories. This includes constructively challenging the tone of comments about the profession. It also means demonstrating the work of solicitors beyond providing legal advice. Our role as strategists and entrepreneurs, people who promote and run their own businesses. Our campaign will have three main angles. Firstly, our contribution to the justice system. The solicitor's profession has established and underwrites a substantial part of the network of justice across England and Wales. And in the case of city firms, with global reach, well beyond. We continue to make it happen for clients, regardless whether they are individuals, corporates, or government, furthering their business and other interests. We have been able to do this only because we have and continue to demonstrate value to our clients within their own definition of that term. Through our advice and work, thousands of disputes are resolved without having to go to court. Not a substitute for a properly funded legal aid system, but the profession supports many of the most vulnerable in our communities, offering free early legal advice and in some cases representation. When cases do go to court, we know what needs to be done. We have the practical expertise and the technical ability to deliver the best outcomes for our clients. We'll engage with those seeking to reform the courts and procedures, although we will and must always draw attention to the impacts of LASPO, issue fees and changes to cost regimes. As I say, we're engaged with the programmes of modernisation of the courts, and we support them as long as the principle of justice for all and the right to access legal advice are safeguarded. Solicitors are not a fetter on justice. On the contrary, we facilitate it. And therefore, we, as our colleagues at the bar, are concerned when others talk about de-lawyering processes. As part of our campaign, we will promote the work of solicitors who sit in the judiciary and encourage and support younger generations of members who may be interested in following such a career path. I call it my line of sight. Secondly, our contribution to the economy, a central part of the Pride in the Profession, will be to continue to promote the solicitor's profession as diverse and dynamic, making a real and consistent economic contribution. Research indicates that the total value of legal services to the economy is 25.7 billion. Net exports of legal services worth close to 4 billion in 2014. And we employ in excess of 370,000 people, a significant contribution to the economy. Solicitors working in-house make a real contribution to the operation of large corporates, central and local government, and the third sector. The in-house community now accounts for 22% of the profession, and we expect it to increase to 35% by 2020. Over two-thirds of general counsel are part of their company's boards, and more than half report directly to the CEO. In-house solicitors are an increasingly an important part of this society. The importance of small and medium-sized firms and the prosperity, growth and stability that they bring to local economies and to the justice system should also be acknowledged, and we will work to keep a focus on that effort. The former Minister of Trade and Investment, Lord Green, suggested that the UK's legal expertise is an extremely valuable export in its own right, as well as underpinning our strong commercial offer across a range of sectors. We agree and will build on that perception. Thirdly, our contribution to the community. We will promote the significant contribution of solicitors to the community, and specifically our crucial role as enablers when people are facing crises in their lives. Many solicitors give time and expertise. They sit on charities as trustees. They bring their experience to bear in a whole range of important situations. And of course, they do countless hours of pro bono work in addition to other chargeable time. I want to celebrate their contribution around National Pro Bono Week later this year through the promotion of the Pro Bono Toolkit for law firms, and by showcasing their work. We will celebrate and support in equal measure. I recognise this work is sustained and again bears on our commitment to social justice, a core value within the profession. I invite you to get involved in our campaign and send us again your stories to enable us to demonstrate and celebrate the values shared by solicitors across the profession and encourage others to join in. At the heart of my concerns in the coming year will be something that has been something of a passion throughout much of my working life. I want to see people of all backgrounds who have the desire and the ability to develop a career in the law, given the skills they need and will need to succeed. Our profession should, and I argue does, reflect the society and the community we represent and of which we are a part. Background, ethnicity, sexual orientation and gender are no bar to a career in the law. Indeed, there is power in the diversity of this society and profession. We must promote the values and interests that we share so that the liberal democracy that we enjoy thrives, is strengthened, maintained and available to all. During my presidential year, I will promote and support public legal education, our social mobility ambassadors, our Equality and Diversity Charter, giving line of sight so that those with the skills and abilities are encouraged to step up, join this profession, and develop their careers in the law. We'll provide solicitors with the tools to overcome lack of confidence and other barriers, including those that are self-imposed or limits on aspiration flowing from environmental or social factors. If we are to remain a cohesive society, and I talk beyond the law societies, the community at large, it is absolutely essential that the profession remains diverse. As someone said, indeed at an Eid celebration last year at the Supreme Court, we must send the lift back after us. I am deeply concerned, as we all must be, with the recent significant increase in reported hate crime and harassment in England and Wales. It follows what were, in my view, quite disgraceful remarks made by people who should have known better in the run-up to the following the referendum. The Law Society condemns any and all hate crime, whether verbal or physical. If you are a victim or witness any crime, please report it. I say we do not and must not tolerate intolerance. I'll be working with firms across the country, including in the city, to make sure that equality, diversity and social mobility and our efforts to overcome barriers are seen as political priorities across the profession, capitalising on the many examples of excellent practice to be found across England and Wales. Part of this will be about increasing the visibility of our expert sections and divisions, including LGBT, junior lawyers, women lawyers, ethnic minority lawyers, in-house, lawyers with disabilities and other associated organisations. During the last 2 years as an office holder, it's been my privilege to become involved in the work of all those organisations. I am always impressed, energised and enthused by the dynamism, the rigour and the energy that is available within every single one of them. And it always renews my confidence in the values that we share right across this profession and should ensure they are understood and recognised by others, particularly against that value proposition where we're asked to become more transparent about pricing and that value offering. It is so important to the work of our society. I know many firms and many solicitors across England and Wales are committed to furthering these aims already, and I want to celebrate and support their work. So, to conclude, you'll be pleased to hear, I repeat, it is a huge privilege to serve the solicitor profession as its 172nd president. The solicitor's profession we must reassure while looking for opportunity. We must uphold the rule of law while encouraging innovation. We must drive growth while promoting stability. We can and should be in the vanguard of those seeking to ensure the UK as a whole comes through this period with its confidence in the framework of justice enhanced. I will work hard to support, promote and represent our profession to make the most of all opportunities so that we are a proud, strong, effective and independent legal profession, confident to go forward, representing, maintaining the rule of law, providing access to justice and representing those important professional values. I look forward to the year ahead, and thank you very much indeed for your patience.